bit of struggles in that last match, so let's see if they can shake that off and do something wild this game. We've got 2 more Erangel to go before we switch the flavor back over to Miramar and Godspeed. We had some wild circles for this first match, so I'm excited to see what this next one brings.
All that debris. Gross. Yeah, we did have a wild last match. That ending was also kind of unexpected. To be honest, the way it looked, it almost seemed like ATC was winning that fight. But again, it was Icy Flex that just came in and just cleaned up. So maybe we get a melee circle. Obviously, we're always due one here when we cast. So we have 2 more games. If it's not this one, it'll probably be the last one. But overall, I mean, just looking at the stats, like, yes, STK is absolutely dominating, and Tig is also there from the Sonics, but we're starting to see some other players step up as well, which is really nice. I think Show was one that was mentioned. Obviously, Marsalek and Norcus have always kind of been stepping up in the stats, but it's just crazy how the talent in this region has started to level up and really showcase some awesome stuff. Even though half those players were European that I just mentioned, or Australian, but you know.
Oh, but I mean, there's definitely something to say about that. We've really seen, a little bit of shuffling as well right now as we're watching ATC. The addition of Sharpshot onto this roster has, I think, really aided their style of play. And as you heard guys at Desk kind of talk about their increased aggression and the fact that it's paid off. I mean, they're still a little bit in the middle of the realm for the leaderboard right now, but it's not to say it isn't because they aren't putting in quite a bit of work for themselves.
I mean, they are. And again, I think after watching Sonics in the last group stage kind of not do that well, but come out swinging in grand finals and really look like they took some things that they had learned in the group stage to that event. I mean, we may be seeing the same thing from other teams now, or some teams may be struggling, but ATC, I mean, that circle's okay. ATC is a team where I feel like their team play, their team mechanics, specifically like in that warehouse on the top of the hill there on the north in the last game, I mean, everything was very clean. The movement, the trades, the way that ATC was peaking together. I mean, that is incredibly impressive for a team that we already knew was pretty damn good as it was. And bringing in Sharpshot, who, yeah, he's an all right player, I guess. He's had some successes in the past. And by all right, I mean, he was probably one of the best players we had in North America for a long time, especially when he had won, I believe, the Las Vegas event with Tempo as a sub, I think it was. So Sharpshot's insane. I mean, he's really good. And adding him to that roster, I think, is very dangerous for all the other teams on the field.
And of course, dangerous as well. We see right now our little flyover from Illusion, kind of taking track over to the north, some of the fights that we had seen just a little bit earlier. Now, as the circle has shifted a little bit further south, obviously, this Severny loot is going to come to an end pretty soon as they start working their way back towards the zone. Lightshow had actually already sent himself up to the cube to get some information on an easy rotation. Now, the thing about circles like this is oftentimes we might see a little bit of Everest play. We've got that circle, we've got that high ground, or excuse me, kind of that position up to the north to catch some of those rotations. But additionally speaking, so many teams right now are further out to the east. And so the time that they have to loot and get themselves in is going to be really important because, as you can see, even here, Fabled is in Razak, and you've got both Pros Don't Snake and Veritas in their vicinity towards the zone. So there's a lot of potential for early fighting with these hard shift circles like this. And for teams, especially right now, that are fighting near the middle or at that cutoff line, I want to play this smart. Fabled still in 16th place. Additionally, on the flip side of that, though, Veritas is climbing themselves up slowly but surely, now sitting themselves in 4th.
Yeah, they've been moving up quite nicely. I will say for Elusive and Pros Don't Snake, I'm starting to get a little worried as far as point acquisition and whether or not they're going to be able to make that top 16 cutoff. But we'll have to see. I mean, it's not been the best start for them. I'm hoping that they are, kind of taking all this in stride and learning from their mistakes, and hopefully they can push forward. As far as the Everest play comment, you're definitely right. I think Everest is a fantastic place for any one of these teams to kind of just stop off and scout. Obviously, the vantage from there is pretty incredible. You can see quite far. And I wouldn't be surprised if we saw any of these teams kind of hop up there for a second, get their bearings, see what's ahead of them, and then start to rotate in.
We see shoot to kill. It seems to say that position for Everest could be really big, but as teams are starting to rotate and are rotating kind of on the opposite side of Gatka here, as we see Sonics going on a little scouting mission of their own to figure out where to put down, as they've already left out Pachinki. It looks like they're not going to go too far away from home. And this time H-Win still up, though anchored at the top of the hill. Needs to be a little bit careful. Veritas is starting to drive in on the backside of this and heading straight for H-Win. And you see Comets also making a little transition across the field.
Yeah, a lot of the teams like Comets are probably going to set up just around Quarry. I mean, it's kind of where the center of the circle seems to lie. Wait a second. This is potentially bad news bears for Veritas.
Oh, I don't think Keenan realizes that
I don't
H-Win's
think he
right
does
below
either.
him.
Yeah, I don't think he knows. But what is Swin going to make a move? That's what I'm curious about. Because if he does, it's going to be hard for him to get off that if Veritas chases. Because, I mean, the compound doesn't have a lot of cover to give him just because of the trees.
And we can see him just kind of inching away a little bit, try to get a watchful eye on Veritas as they are going to pull back. Tiggleton, additionally, through that, was keeping some of the pressure. Watch, you can see right now bullets coming across the screen as they're coming from Tiggleton towards Michael. And the rest of Team Veritas are taking a transition. Additionally, from this now, PDS has a little bit of a visitor, I think. Nope. Excuse me, guys. That is just there's a little bit of a bug there. Now we can see, though, Veritas is going to crash compound of San Diego Rarity. So we're looking for that aggression coming out from right now. This could be a big nade for Jazz if it lands. See right now, shots towards the nade, but it's going to be traded out here. Some damage, finds the knock. Beautiful nade there from Jazza. As he looks for the flush, he's going to get it.
I felt that was Eternity, that Innate was either looking at them or they were cooking the grenades, but it looks like more shots are coming in. A trade coming in. A crew gonna find Keenan, and Michael gonna trade for Subtle.
Oh, look at this. Jazz only 26, but a nice hip fire is actually going to take him down there. And only with 3 still up, they've managed to do quite a number here. And San Diego Rarity. Deadeye is actually going to pull back away from this, try to keep the Dream alive, down to 39 HP, but switching to the SLR. We see Michael. I see if he can get himself a squad wipe on this, but Deadeye should be able to get away. There aren't really any other teams out to the west, so little breathing room for him. But unfortunately, lost at the cost of the rest of the squad. Oh! You get hit a tree. That is not what you want to do when your health is low.
Tragic if he got that would be tragic indeed. But STR is struggling. I mean, this is now potentially the second game where they may not have the best start. We'll see. And Sonics is actually super comfortable to just sit in this compound. They haven't moved, and I'm curious if that's because they want to cut off rotations or if they just want to play from here or maybe get rotations out of here. We'll see.
It'll definitely be, as you said, a very interesting 2-2 split for them to do. Definitely, as well, a nice place to gather that information from teams rotating in. Team Clueless, though, has to do a little bit of housekeeping, as unfortunately one of their players had a little bit of a whoopsie with the vehicle early on, so unfortunately that's how they lost NHS. But now, as they're trying to hold out this position, they can start to see if Gatka is for free. Fabled is starting to rotate in the back side of this, getting just a little bit close. We can see some shots right now towards Rip. That's going to push Fabled back away and back into the arms as well, into PDS on the opposite side of this. So a little bit of a risky rotation coming in for Fabled, but Gatka is open for free. Mini Gatka is also open for free, and still plenty of places for them to put down safely and continue this fight if they want it.
Looking at this rotation here from Fabled, and I'm wondering if they're going to use this as just a stopping point to scout, or if they're actually going to go further in, because there's not too much around them, and I'm sure they've probably seen some of this as they move forward into Gatka proper here. But Fabled, man, this is a team for me that started off so strong in most of these group stages, even in the grand finals. But this one, I feel like it's been a bit of a struggle, and they really haven't had any roster changes. So I'm curious what's going on with that team.
Yeah, you're right, because they haven't had any roster swaps from PCS2 to PCS3 yet. For some reason, things aren't quite clicking as they were for them in the PCS2 and even Grand Finals series, but still holding on to that 16th place position. Additionally, through this now as well, we can see Shoot to Kill starting to set up in and around the area. They did send Luke 12 to the compound just to the south of Gatka, taking a few shots towards Fabled and PDS. Pros don't snake, but Kurt staying close in the area. I think might be going to join Luke, turning this potentially into a 2-2 split, depending on whether Alo and Civ want to join in on this party. This could be a really fantastic angle to play from right now, especially if they can get some knocks onto Fable. But look at that circle. We can see centering itself up just about where everybody is.
Good old
debate.
tempo reds. This is what we used to call this, tempo reds, because this is pretty much where they'd always be when they'd loot here around Gatka. And this is, as you said, this is a fantastic position to hold, not only Gatka proper from, but as well as the rest of the field. I mean, you have vision all the way up to the radio tower, just there to the west. Obviously, they have really good angles on everyone else, especially if you're on the roof like Luke is. So, and this is a notoriously hard compound to crash super effectively. I mean, it just gets it gets sloppy. So SDK in a great position right now.
I'm really liking this roof play. I mean, though it is a bit risky, right? You get yourself knocked down here. It could be a little bit of a hard res. But as I say that, it looks like Veritas and the Chopsticks are kind of fighting off at range. We can actually even see from far Fable taking a few bullet shots in that fight as well. So it's getting a little bit crowded, but like you say, those positions are fantastic because of that vantage point, the viewpoint from all these other squads that are still in the area, not only information you're able to gather, but the damage you're able to do. So as the circle still, I think, has given most of these teams enough room to play from, we're not really going to see any hard crashes just yet. And so mostly all this superficial damage and take away just a little bit from some of these teams.
This is a really interesting roster for me. You have the return of Vegas, and you have Leda, who came from Zenith. So I really am curious to see how this shakes up. I wonder if Vegas is actually doing a lot of the IGLing now that he's come in. I know he was in the past, playing with him before as well. I know he was. And Comets are a team that, I mean, they've done really well. PCS2 group stage comes to mind where they really showed up, and then grand finals, wasn't exactly the same. So I'm hoping with these changes, with bringing in Vegas and Leda, two very experienced, very good players, if they can start to kind of turn things around. But Trimsy is looking at a really cheeky angle to get onto Comets. But yeah, Elusive, again, this is a team that I talked about earlier as well. These guys are struggling right now. There's just no other way around it.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like especially through the mid game has been a bit of their struggles. They find themselves often rotating onto other squads and falling short, sometimes struggling additionally, not only through those rotations, but from those crashes, whether being the person who's taken the crash or defending from one. And that's been, I don't want to say they've been out mechanicked, but it seems like depending on who it is that they're fighting, sometimes they're really
sometimes it feels like that. Sometimes it really just feels like that. And speaking of crashes, look at Steezy.
Oh.
He's just chilling and he's just looking around. He's scouting. I don't know if he knows that Dodge is actually just sitting here. Yep, here comes Zealot. And Adam and Danny G are going to have to perform quite the hold here if they want to have any hope of, dealing with a full T8.
I mean, if you needed to have two players for Dodge, these are the two to have it. You've got your damage and frag leaders really out of this squad here. You see Adam doing a little bit of damage into Steezy. It's going to give him a quick pause to try and heal from this. Right now, watching that angle is going to get that knock onto Danny G. That is nasty, but he's taken quite a hit for himself. And once again, popping another first aid kit. The rest of Dodge stuck up the hill. This 2-2 split from TAC 8 could be big if Weem keep the pressure on Finna and Lampalot from coming in to join the party. Now, all the attention on Adam trying to take him down from out of this compound.
Oh!
Ooh! It was a good hit, but Zealot very badly damaged yet again. He's already taken a couple of fuse heals, but Lush with a nice grenade is going to find that knock here. And he gets the flush as well. The rest of Dodge is under the watchful eye now of Weem as we see a few bullets coming back out from range, but that's going to push Dodge out. The thing, though, and we just kind of missed it a moment ago, is that the circle did shift, and it shifted to the north. So all of these teams now are going to have to pack up and start focusing on getting themselves into the zone. And into the zone is this fight right here at hand, Comets and Sonics.
Another member down, and this may be another rough game for Comets. We'll see. I mean, 3 up, you're still going to be able to do quite a bit, but Sonics is also the team that they're fighting right now, and Sonics is in a comfortable position to hold this if they want to. So we'll see. I also want to point out that Tactical 8 continues to impress me with their team fighting, man. These guys have gotten really good at not only breaching compounds, but fighting well together, and it's just, again, it's great to see because I really love those boys.
I mean, you really want to see, like you said, that growth coming in from squads, not only in their ability to increase their team play and their game sense, but to really grow and play well from it. They are right now in a decent position on the leaderboard, try to move forward, but they've got to do some work today. And speaking of doing work, Rumblers, a nice position out to the north. They were another team starting out today that we're just kind of a little bit out of, I think, a comfortable position at 12th place before we started that first match. So they've got a little bit of
Yeah.
work to do, but I mean, this is still a nasty roster, and players that we know are really capable of a lot. This is the team that usually pops off on week 3, and so it's kind of what we're anticipating. But as I say that, Gaxi taking just a little bit of damage there from ATC.
I mean, I'm always just going to have an exceptionally high expectation coming out of Rumblers, just because, that's it's my old team, and I've played with those guys, and I know what they're capable of, especially Los and Waldo. And on top of that, you add, Gaxi and McCoy to that roster, who have just been so impressive in their own right on their own teams, respectively. So it's just a really good roster, and I expect them to be better than 12th. But at the same time, I know how the mindset of that team generally works, at least with half of it, and I know they'll show up when it matters, come grand finals. They always do.
Yeah, that's why we see Waldo really trying to hold his own as this crash coming in from ATC, who's trying to take out this compound. Gaxi and McCoy looking to get as close as possible, try to lend a hand onto this, but now Waldo unfortunately is going to get found by Sharp Shot with the barrel. We see that push coming in right away to try to pick up that flush. He gets it here. Additionally, when this happened, Deadeye was spotted out from San Diego. Rarity is going to find themselves eliminated. So ATC gets this compound, puts in the work, but now the circle shifting back to the south again.
He was so ready for that, Clover. He was so ready for that. And I thought for sure Waldo at least might get one knock or maybe a nice little spray, but no, Sharp shot that down immediately. Wow, that Sharp shot that down immediately. That's not... I didn't mean to do that, but that sounded pretty cool. And ATC now are actually going to rotate here to... this dip right north of the yellows. This is a notoriously difficult dip to play at times, especially when nades and utilities start to come into play.
Yeah,
but at the same time,
early on as well, Team Clueless could be in a good position to use that utility. The big issue right now for ATC, who sent 2 to this dip, is you've got Rumblers while outside of the zone in a position to the north to take shots from this dip, so they got to be a little bit careful. We can see Marcelic being mindful of those buildings right now, keeping an watchful eye to see when Rumblers do take this rotation.
Yeah, and I'm curious if ATC is going to stay. Looks like they're trying to move in duel now, in a lot of trouble in the middle of this field, trying to use these vehicles as cover. Smoke's coming out. The res, even with Smokes, is going to be a little sketchy, as Sonics have not given up this position, and they are harassing team after team.
I think the big thing that could come into aid here is the fact that the blue is closing in and Sonics aren't yet in the zone, so time's limited. But speaking of limited in time in the blue, we've got Comets and TAC8 fighting along the edge. This fight's been going on for just a bit, but Leda is just narrowly going to get away with 15 HP. He's actually got to stop to try to heal and out-heal in front of the blue. So that is it for TAC8 on this, and Comets holding on to what little they've got. Additionally, he still needs to focus on getting in the zone. We're seeing Sonic starting to make that move, and so all of the teams now up to the south finding themselves a little bit crowded. I think Leda should be just fine.
Yeah, I mean, he'll be okay now. Comets with 3 kills. Unfortunate for TAC8, they also went out, but at the same time, they got a few kills, so it really wasn't the worst round that it could be for them, as Sonics are now finally starting to push up this hill right onto Guadalajara gas cans.
Oh, Guadalajara was really set up for this. I've been taking a couple shots on Sonics as this push was coming in, but still fully committed to see Mime just at the base of this hill. Smokes out right now, try to stay alive. Those Molotovs just short of that watchtower. Additionally, though, gas cans gonna lose Honey Badger here. Tickled him with a very nice knock. Nikos tries to trade the down at range. H1 once again holding that anchor point, trying to do some damage into here, but Voxic spotting out Shrimzy as well. So this is being a little bit of a hard push coming in from Sonics, but they're not giving up just yet.
Voxic, I mean, they're desperately trying to get any headshots that they can here onto Sonics. They want to save Honey Badger, but Sonics have this way of just constricting so methodically around these team fights, really taking their time, especially with Honey Badger. Like, sure, they could immediately go for a flush, but they're really trying to bait out the rest of the members of the gas cans. And I'll tell you this, Sonics are not necessarily in the best position for this fight either, but they're really making it work.
And we see the last little bit of utility coming out now from the gas cans as another flash is thrown onto Shrimzy, but the smokes out are obscuring vision just a little bit. That's going to push gas cans back, allowing Sonics to comfortably get in the zone and work their way up the hills. You see a Molotov go right past Shrimzy's head. Now Voxic waiting for the push that's coming in. We can see now Shrimzy's point of view.
I hate fighting on this hill.
Oh, look at this. Dodge is actually starting to third-party fight. A couple shots coming out from Finna and Lampalot, who are just to the west of this, and Shrimzy being a little bit careful now. As you can see, taking constant glances out in that direction. He knows that they do need to be careful with this wrap coming in. Obviously, wrapping to the west would be the best play here onto the gas cans, but they just need to be careful for dodge at hand now as you see Voxic trying to do something about it.
It's not really a lot that he can do as you see all those pings. Voxic got shot from pretty much every cardinal direction available. That was out of control. And now Huyn is going to go down to other members in the distance from Dodge. Lampalot.
Oh, yeah. Dodge really was waiting patiently for that fight. They are going to be able to pick off, too. So Sonic's down to just Shrimzy and Tiggleton. Now back to the fight at the north. Rumblers did take a hard crash here onto ATC for this dip. They've been a bit of a trade of knocks and flushes. Just McCoy and Gaxi up versus Norcus and Aguila. As we can see right now, Aguila trying to spot out something, but Rumblers are going to fall here, getting a little bit of help from Illusion. Or excuse me, actually it's going to be Illusion and Elusive that are fighting out in the kill pin. That's out to the west. We can see that off in the distance. Additionally, now down to the south, we've got Duel, PDS, and Veritas all trying to walk into the zone from the same point. Wooly and Cherry kind of pinned down here in the fields.
Yeah, Duel have been struggling here for quite a while, and originally it was Sonics that was harassing them, and then they moved on, and
Ooh. Well,
good night, sweet prince. Yes, Elusive is going to go out. It's going to be, is he going to get show? Oh, he is. Oh, does he have time, though? That's going to be really close. Moving back to Pros Don't Snake and Duel as well as Veritas there. And this has been a real barn burner here on the south side.
Barn burner, as you can see now, Cherry. Gonna be a little bit of damage, can't quite find the angle. Veritas is going to get spotted out, though. Shoot to kill from that center compound. Has sight on this. They're going to get down a couple of players onto this now. As you see, Light Show's going to fall back down himself, though, so that res did not pop off. At Cherry at 4 HP is just going to full send it right now into Pros Don't Snake. He is going to find a flashbang, though, as the animation comes up. And a quick recovery and nice shots. Gets Gasket down. Still only 6 HP, but into the blue. Spots one
Cherry,
more. Gets the elimination. Pros Don't Snake goes out, and Duel recovers with 3, but now they need to be careful. Fabled has sight to this from the north. Greg shot landing one onto Cherry. Smokes out, though. Lampalot's going to attempt to res here.
Penta may get the res. Nope, he's dead through smoke. Unlucky now. Penta's going to be a little stuck. As long as he wraps down to the south. Now he's taking shots from Fabled. They are just ripping him to pieces. Oh, that was so daring. I respect it. I respect the play.
I really tried what they could to do this, but Wooly is going to escape still with 98 HPs on the edge away from the blue, but the circle has shifted further to the west, and that is a lot of open field ahead of them and a lot of enemies as well. Fable does need to come out of Gatka and work their way into the zone. Additionally, so does ATC, so if those rotations come at the most opportune moment, we might have Shoot to kill looking to the north, and that could give Wooly the chance to snake his way in. The issue, of course, comes, as you can see on the map, Sonic still have 2 out to the south. So with that much open field, it's going to be a hard transition for so many of these teams moving forward that don't have this great compound, this vantage point, as you pointed out earlier, for Shoot to kill play from.
Yeah, and to be completely honest and fair to Wooly, I really just don't think he has anywhere to play in the circle. There's the only thing that's in on his edge is really just nothing, and SDK can see that very clearly as you see Sonics and Tig really struggling here as all of SDK is shooting in his direction. And again, that's just because there's nothing really to play here other than hay barrels, and some of those hay barrels I'm pretty sure are destructible as well. So this is rough. This is rough for pretty much everyone that is an SDK right now.
Yeah, I mean,
And
really
Lampalot.
smart play for Tiggleton to move that vehicle out of the way so that he didn't lose the only cover with that hay bale. But as we see Duel, Wooly is going to be alive enough to send it
Wooly's
into the circle, take some damage onto
so
this. We see everybody taking shots in this direction, but he's found an abandoned car, a spot to put down, and
No,
Alo
it's not
still
gonna
had an angle.
It's not going to happen, and now it looks like the rest of ATC. What is this?
Ooh! What was going on? I think Greg Shot tried to get a little bit fancy with the seat swap, caught out there by Shrimzy, and Fabled falling apart. There is going to be eliminated in the end as Rip spotted out by Purdy Curdy. Shoot to kill again from that vantage point, but as Shrimzy has been knocked down, Tiggleton is not really in a good position to go back for the res just yet. He's got a watchful eye on ATC. Aguila and Norcus still with that high ground up on the hill that's somehow barely in the circle, but 50 seconds until blue comes to a close, and they will most likely have to come down from that position. But you can see Kurt already starting to send it out from the compound and try to get a wrap and an angle onto Tiggleton.
I love it. I love the confidence in this as well from Kurt, just running through the open, knowing that his team has his cover. The issue, though, is ATC, And to kind of talk on the position that they went to that you had pointed out, that's actually probably one of the better positions that they could have gone to in this current circle, because now not only do they have a vantage point, but they could technically put their vehicles somewhere. There's a dip right there where the dirt roads kind of intersect, kind of where Wooly went. They can send their vehicles there and actually create a nice little bit of cover, which will most likely be the only thing in front of them. So I like this play from ATC. It's rough. They have 6 kills. They've already done a lot of work. If they can manage to survive a little longer, that's great. But yeah, this was probably the best play for themselves.
Ooh.
Oh, and Tig.
Oh, it was good shooting from Aguila, but ultimately Tiggleton outshot him. As you see the headshot come out, gets the knock. Should have time for the res, but the circle is going to pull back down, so that vehicle will come well into play if they can keep that back up. But I mean, look at this. It's an open field. Shoot to Kill still has part of their compound into this. In fact, Tiggleton is also still in the zone. So the other factor is what happens when Team Clueless takes their transition as well. I think it's going to be who gets spotted out first here, because you can just see there's nowhere to really hide except for the very tip of SDK's compound.
Well, there's that, and then where those smoking vehicles are next to Tig, like I said, ATC can technically put their vehicles there. There's like a little hump on that dirt road where they'll have some cover. It's pretty much the only chance they have of making it any further into this game. Clueless, however, I mean, they're 3 members up, but they really haven't done much. They have 1 kill. They haven't really secured anything in front of them to play, and this is going to be rough, especially with SDK, just beaming in on them.
And
Shrew's
got to
go. He
down
can't
by
stop.
Luke 12. You see the flush coming in, but rotation is still going ahead as Shrew tries to send it out safely to that burning pile of cars, as you talked about, but they've left one behind as well. Nick, the insurance policy is the last chance here. As all of this is happening, though, ATC trying their transition to come back down. They found a little bit of a dip to play from, and once again, Aguila finds themselves knocked. This angle that Shoot to Kill has to work versus getting them sight on the entire map.
This is the big problem, because normally those spots are not bad. However, with SDK on the roof, they pretty much see right over those little dips, and that's pretty much what's ruining everyone else in the circle as SDK farms their way to this victory, basically.
Right now with 9 kills, getting another knock onto Aguila. I think that's his 3rd down, so it's going to be a pretty quick bleed out. As you see, once again, Norcus going to try to keep him alive. Norcus is himself as well as a damaged helmet, a damaged vest. We see Aguila has completely lost his helmet, and miraculously through this position, Tiggleton has still continued to do work and damage on all of the teams involved. But we see now Luke 12 going a little bit ahead, trying to get within throwables range here for ATC. He's got a nade and a Molotov ready to go, but right now the SLR out, hoping to get a headshot onto this. Finds Norcus, finds Aguila. ATC is eliminated, and it's now a 3v1 Shoot to Kill versus Tig.
Nope, it's actually over. That kill was found, and man, SDK